It sits in that category of portable air conditioners that appeal to renters and anyone who cannot or will not install a window unit. If you are in a small condo, an apartment, a home office, or a bedroom that heats up every afternoon, this is aimed at you. It makes the most sense for spaces around the size of a small living room or a larger bedroom, where you want real cooling, a quick install, and the option to move it if your needs change. The look is simple and very appliance-forward. Matte white, rounded corners, clean lines. About the size of a small bedside cabinet, so it claims a noticeable footprint, but it does not shout for attention. The flexible exhaust hose is thick and ribbed, and that does affect how much space you need behind the unit and how you lay out your furniture. The hose runs to a window insert that ships in the box, so you do not need to drill into anything. There are caster wheels underneath, and they roll fine on hardwood and low-pile rugs, but the body is heavy and a little top-heavy. Shifting it a few feet is easy. Carrying it upstairs or trying to turn a tight corner requires patience in both hands. The control panel has a small liquid crystal display that shows temperature, mode, and timer. It is bright enough to read in daylight and dim enough at night that it does not glow like a spotlight. The filter sits behind a panel, pops out without tools, and the unit reminds you when it is time to clean it. That reminder matters more than the plastic design details ever will. Setup is straightforward. The window kit is a sliding plastic panel with adjustable segments. I had it in a standard sliding window in minutes. The gasket pieces seal well enough to stop drafts, and the locking ring on the hose clicks into place with a satisfying twist. No permanent changes, no power tools, and the only real trick is measuring your window rail so the slider is snug. After that, it is plug in, set the mode, and you are on your way. The remote control becomes the main way I use it within the first hour. I adjust fan speed, temperature, and mode from the couch or from bed. The buttons are clearly labeled and the response is immediate. No lag, no missed commands. The 24-hour timer is simple to set, and once you learn the rhythm of your day, you set it and forget it. Cooling performance is where this thing earns its keep. The rating is for small to medium rooms up to around 300 square feet. In plain terms, think a 12 by 25 foot room or thereabouts. In my place, that is a combined living and dining area that traps afternoon heat like a greenhouse. On a day where the indoor temperature was in the mid-80s, I set the target to the low 70s, closed the door, and let it run on high for a quick pull down. 15 to 20 minutes later, the room moved from sticky to comfortable. After that initial sprint, I drop fan speed to low, and it maintains the set point without working itself into a loud hum. On cooler days, I run it on the lowest setting and it quietly keeps the air fresh and the humidity down. Speaking of humidity, the dry mode is surprisingly useful. On rainy summer days where the temperature is not unbearable but the air feels clammy, I switch to dry and let it pull moisture without blasting cold air. Furniture and bedding stop feeling damp, and the room smells less musty. The fan-only mode is also handy when you just want air circulation through the evening without cooling. It is not a whisper, but it is an even, non-harsh airflow that helps a stuffy room breathe. I had a question before buying about water drainage. Portable air conditioners can pull a lot of moisture from the air. This model evaporates most of it through the exhaust under normal use, so I have not had to drain it during typical Cincinnati summer days. There is a small drain plug at the bottom for extreme humidity or constant operation. I checked it out of curiosity, but it has not been necessary. That design choice removes a lot of day-to-day maintenance and makes the dry mode something I use without thinking about buckets or hoses. Noise matters in a small home. On the box, the claim is around 50 decibels on low, and that lines up with how it sounds. Think quiet conversation in another room. Watching a movie with it on low is fine. The dialogue stays intelligible and you stop noticing the background hum. When I switch to high for a quick cool down, it gets notably louder. Not harsh, not rattly, but enough that I want to go back to low once the temperature drops. If you are very sensitive to sound, plan to pre-cool and then live on the lower fan speed. If you sleep with white noise, this makes a decent stand-in. I have fallen asleep with it running on low and did not wake up because of it. Energy use has been reasonable. I track my monthly electric bills in summer, and adding this for a full month did not produce a scary spike. A portable air conditioner is never going to be as efficient as a balanced central system, but for the target room size and mindful use with the timer, it does not punish you. The timer itself is the quiet hero here. I schedule the unit to start an hour before I get home and to turn off in the early morning. I avoid cooling an empty room, and I never walk into a heat box at the end of the day. Let me talk about the physical reality of living with it. The exhaust hose is the visual and practical trade-off. It hogs some space and wants a clear path to the window. If your room is tight, plan where that arc will go, because the hose does not love sharp bends. Give the back of the unit a little breathing room for airflow, and you will get better performance. The wheels do their job, but the weight is real. It is around 56 pounds, which means I do not bounce it between rooms every few hours. I tend to pick a spot for the season and leave it there. If your plan is to move it up and down stairs regularly, you will feel it in your arms. Also, the finish is matte but still an appliance white box. If you care deeply about interior aesthetics, you will notice it. I do not hate the look, but I do not pretend it blends into a bookshelf either. A few days of real testing stand out. On a blazing afternoon with bright sun hitting west-facing windows, I closed the blinds, started the unit on high, and timed it. The drop from stuffy mid-80s to crisp low 70s took about 18 minutes. At that point, I set the fan to low and went back to work. The sound faded into the background and the room stayed steady for hours. On a stormy day with high humidity but modest temperature, the dry mode took that damp edge off in less than an hour. The difference in comfort was obvious, especially on fabric furniture and bedding. Overnight, I used the timer to run it for 2 hours at bedtime and then shut down. I slept comfortably without waking up chilly or to a loud fan at 3 in the morning. For a concrete use case, my home office is a spare bedroom that bakes during video edits with a computer and lights running. I roll the unit into the doorway, hook the hose to the window insert, and set the temperature a couple of degrees below what feels comfortable at rest. It cools the room quickly, and the steady low fan does not mess with microphones or ears during calls. At night, I move it back to the living area for a movie. Low fan, set point around 74 degrees, and it hums along without competing with dialogue. If I need a cool down before cooking, I bump the fan speed for 10 minutes, then drop it. It is not glamorous, but it is predictable, and predictability is what I want from a cooling appliance. There are a few thoughtful touches that make life easier. The filter reminder on the display takes one chore off my mental list. I get the alert, pop the filter out, rinse it under the tap, let it dry and slide it back in. The self-evaporating moisture handling means I am not babysitting a tank. The remote is light, responsive, and covers the full feature set, so I rarely touch the top panel after the first day. The timer scheduling saves energy and raises day-to-day comfort far more than any flashy feature could. There are trade-offs to keep in mind. The weight and slightly top-heavy feel make frequent room-to-room moves annoying. If you expect to use it on multiple floors, plan for the lift. There is no wireless or application control on this model, and there is no smart home integration. I am fine with the remote, but if you love full phone control and automations, you will miss that here. The look is utilitarian, and the hose will not win any style points. None of those are deal breakers for me, but they are realities of living with a portable air conditioner. Taking all of that into account, this is a solid choice for anyone who needs reliable cooling in a small to medium room, wants an install that is straightforward, and values reasonable noise on the lower settings. It is easy to set up, easy to use, and it actually cools the space it claims to cool. If you are fighting summer heat in a bedroom, a home office, or a compact living area, it does the job with minimal fuss. If you want something silent, feather light, invisible, or fully connected to a smart home, this will not be a perfect fit. For me, the comfort, the predictable performance, and the low effort maintenance make it a dependable summer companion. If this video helped you figure out whether this is right for your space, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your questions or your own experience. Thank you for watching.